is up, everybody? It's Sunday night, and you are here. It is All Things Fantasy Grounds Talk Show. We're going to be talking to Team Twohy tonight. Before we get started, let me give the disclaimer, like I always do, which is All Things Fantasy Grounds Talk Show is meant to teach and help, but the opinions stated on the show are not those of Smiteworks USA, LLC, or Fantasy Grounds. If you're watching on YouTube later, smash that subscribe button and ring that notification bell. I don't know if that's right. I don't know what YouTube does. But we are going to give away some prizes, so if you're watching on YouTube, you missed it. You got to come watch us live on Sunday nights. And for those of you watching now, we're going to give away prizes, so don't go anywhere because we give them away. You don't know when we're going to do it. We might do it in the middle. We might do it in 5 minutes. We might do it at the end. We might do all those. We don't know. Anyway, let me welcome some of my distinguished colleagues to the show. First, I'll start with my co-host. Only one co-host tonight, and that is Robin. How are you, Robin?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. Yeah, I am good. So with Robin, who by the way is also a member of Team Twohy, in addition to being a co-host of the Sunday Night Show.
Like barely.
Let's go from the top, but like barely. Let's go from the top left. We'll say hello to one of our newest members, Mr. Mad Nomad GM. How are you?
Hey, doing good, thanks.
All right, glad you're with us. In the middle top is Matakuri. How's it going?
Hey, everybody. Good.
In the bottom left is some moron that accidentally put this all together. We'll skip him. We'll go to the bottom right, the guy who's got the best T-shirt in the world, and it's Mr. Sven. How are you, Sven?
I'm doing well. Hello out there. If you guys aren't watching our Saturday show, Rick and Morty, shame on you.
Shame on you for not watching the Saturday show on this channel. Sven is also the DM. So the Team Twohy has...
Awesome.
It is awesome. Team Twohy has about, I think, 13 as of today. We got a new guy today who's not here with us tonight. And some of us do conversions from DM's Guild from the PDFs. We change them into Fantasy Grounds and publish those. Some of us do our own material and publish it on DM's Guild. And two of us does both of those, and that's me and Matakuri. He does both. And so we thought we'd have a show. I was hoping more people would show up, but I didn't make it mandatory, so that's why you only see 5 of us instead of 13. But some people are at work, and some people, couldn't do it, and some people didn't want to do it, and some people might be dead because I haven't heard from them for 2 weeks. No names. And so we just ended up with 5 of us tonight, which is fine.
Ooh.
I actually think... Oh, my sounds are echoing. I got to turn that off. And by the way, thank you for the follow, Outmata. I hope I said that right, Outmata. I think the Discord video chat only holds 10 people anyway, so we couldn't... If we would have had more, we would have been, screwed somehow. Is that right? You're nodding, Matakuri? Is that right? Yeah, Insane... Kim, thanks for the follow. Again, if I screw your guys' names up when you follow, I'm so sorry. I don't know how to read. So what I thought we would do is maybe have you guys talk about individually what you guys do for your projects, and then as we go along, we can give away some prizes and stuff. So we'll just go in order. Mad Nomad, what are your things that you have worked on and are working on?
So I released my first thing, which was the encounter generator, Xanathars encounter generator. That was my first.
That thing is so awesome. Okay, I'm gonna put the link to that in the chat, everybody. While he's talking about it, I'll put the link. Go ahead. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
Oh, no problem. Yeah, that's really all I've released so far. Been since the first month here. It hasn't even been a month, but a couple of weeks since I released it. I added some new books in there. I got some new features to further customize the encounters that I'm adding in. And I've been diving into just learning how to do some extensions with a lot of help from Matakuri and Diablo Bob. So I got to give props to them both for showing me the ropes there. And so I just finished my first extension. I don't think it's going to be something for everybody, but it's sort of a utility to help enhance your table rolls, do some really fancy things with table rolls. And it's something that I kind of needed to build to take the encounter generator to the next level. Some visions that I have for that. Cool. So that's what I've been working on.
Yeah, excellent. So for those that don't know, Mad Nomad GM just joined the team like 21 days ago. It was like 3 weeks ago, July 19th, I think.
Dang.
Oh no, that's only 16 days ago. Whatever. Math, because reading. And his one and only thing that he's published on the DMs Guild is already a copper bestseller, everybody. So I put the link in the chat. You guys can check it out. There is a trial version that you can get for free. And what this thing does is it builds encounters using the Xanathar's Guide to Everything method, and it uses the standard version uses the Monster Manual, Vola's Guide to Monsters, and Mordenkainen's Tome of Foes, and then he added functionality to do 5th edition foes and Tome of Beasts as well. So you guys can check that out. We've been using it in 5e pickup games, and I know a couple other people that have told me they've been using it, and everybody really loves it. So yeah, that was awesome of him to do that, and I'm pretty excited about the new stuff you're working on. So that'll be cool.
So Rob, awesome. Can you speak to the difference between your random encounter generator and his?
Yeah, the TLDR version is his is way better than mine. But when I did mine like 3 years ago, I did the best I could with it, and I used the method of like I got some formulas off the internet, and the old one that I did, which is still good, you can still use it, it's still valid. You can build encounters for average party of 3 to 7 players and average level, CR 1 to 20, or actually 0 to 20. You can do quarter and eighth and half and all that. But his has like way more, like any level from, what is it, Mad, from 1 to 9 for players?
Number of players, yeah, 1 to 9.
1 to 9, and then all level 0 to 20. So his is more expansive, and his and of course the method in which you use you can build like if you on mine you can build multiple encounters with different monsters, but you'd have to build 2 separate ones or 3 separate ones. His combine them all in one if you want to do an advanced encounter or whatever, but it's just way better. So the answer, Sven, is it's way better. And so don't buy mine. If you have mine, you can still use it, but if you're new, get his. Legitimately, you could get them both, depending on what methods. Also, mine use a couple different sources that he hasn't plugged in yet, so that's one advantage mine has, but he'll eventually get all the sources in there, so you won't need to worry about that. I was the pioneer, Caesar. Yes, that's right. All right, well, so let's move to Matakuri, who we would have to do a 4-hour show if we talked about everything he did. But I'll let you talk about what you want to talk about, sir. What you'd like to showcase for yourself.
Sure. So I started off with Rob last year in 2019. Published my first title in March, and I kept pretty busy. I'm at 50 some odd titles right now. I think it's 52 currently published on DM's Guild.
Wow.
Most of them are the conversions, and I did those all the way up through kind of early January. And then I shifted gears, and I've kind of been focusing on extension development since then. That's when I started with the sounds extension, Sirenscape sounds, and with the whole thing with the other extension being taken down. And so I started with the extension coding, found that I enjoyed it, and I was okay doing it. And so that's kind of what I've been working on since. Little convenience things like the Sirenscape sounds. I created a newer one that allows you to have shops so your players can buy stuff. And then other little convenience things for DMs like an ID all button, so you don't have to click every item in your party sheet or every item in a parcel to identify it. You can just one click and ID all of them. Stuff like that, little DM enhancements that I've been working on.
And
one of my favorite things that he just made recently is as a DM, I love it because as each NPC comes up in the combat tracker, it opens up the player sheet, and you can choose whether you want NPCs, PCs, or both. I don't care about the PCs, so I just use the NPCs, but it's very convenient.
Yeah, Awesome. And guys, in the chat, I just put the link to his name on the DM's Guild. So if you click on that link, it'll show all of Matakuri, whose real name is John Waite, no relation. And he's done, as he said, let me see, what is the count here on the DM? Yeah, 51 titles. Is it supposed to be 52?
Damn.
I don't know. Something like that.
And so, yeah, he's done quite a bit of stuff, and all of the solid green colors that you guys will see, those are his individual things that he made, that he created, whether it's an extension or whatever it is. And then the other ones with pictures on them are his conversions that are just the regular conversions for PDFs. And he might do those in the future, but he probably will stick to, because I know how much money he's making and where the money comes from, and it's definitely from his own stuff that he's making the money. So,
and I have a ton more ideas of stuff to work on. So
that's awesome.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna stick with that for a little while.
He doesn't tell me. He just emails me and goes, "Here, this is ready," and I go, "Oh, what is it? I don't care. Publish it," because I trust him in it. And usually when he does, there's a flurry of excitement in the Discord server for like 2 or 3 days, because everybody gets a new thing or whatever. That's usually when anybody. There was when Mad Nomad did it. There's when Kent does it. When Diablo Bob does it. When all those people that do their own stuff. Robin's tokens. I was laughing, Robin. We'll come to you next. Your tokens are pay what you want, and they're more successful than the other thing you did with me. So you make more money.
I love the other thing though. I wish it was more successful.
It'll be successful. So, Robin, and Robin is a member of the team, but has also traditionally done many things with either other publishers or on her own before she joined the team. So, what would you like to talk about, my dear?
Well, I won't talk too much about that stuff because it's not, correlated. But yeah, I did start by doing conversions for other people, which I actually still do. But anyways, so for you, all I have is the simple tokens, which I really like, and I use them in my games all the time, especially with Diablo Bob's critically awesome essentials extension, because I can use them as spell tokens and so on and so forth. And then the other thing I made was a conversion of my own PDF, which is the Whimsical Heroes Races. There will be a sequel to that very soon. But first, right now, I'm working on 100 shops that uses Matakuri's extension. That is actually almost done. It'll be done in like a week, give or take. And not only does it have 100 shops pre-built using Matakuri's extension, but it has over 1,000 mundane items like
awesome.
iron ingots and t-shirts and bolts of cloth and
I've
just like all kinds of stuff.
A couple of Robin's streams while she's working, and she goes, "What else, guys, should I?" And we shout, "Pants! Put pants!" Whatever we add pants. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
There's the link in the chat, guys, to the simple aura tokens, which which are pay what you want, so you can get them for free if you're a cheap bastard, but you can also pay. And those are also, a couple of them are used in the spell codings, in my spell coding packs for spells that require a square or line or circle that Hagrid has not covered. The G. Johnson spell. Yeah, so as I was going through it with him, there was like 2 or 3 that are, and it used to be filled with a lot of them, but then he made tokens for spells he didn't make them for before, so that just came out like a couple weeks ago.
That's awesome.
Yeah. And then
we use them for other stuff too, not like in my game group. We use them. I've used them to to show my players, here's where you can see the lever on the wall if it's not like on the battle map. So I use them for all kinds of just things like, if there's a statue and they move, like moving statues, there's a lot of those in the Tomb of Annihilation. So if they move the statue or whatever, I'll use my spell tokens to show the players like where they move the statue to or whatever. It's basically the same thing you could use letter tokens for, but I like my spell token.
They're really nice though, because they're different colors. They're all the shapes.
Different shapes.
And you can size them to whatever you want. And so they're really nice to use especially for an example like that.
I like that they're somewhat basic, but yet they're
Mhm.
really classy looking. So
Aw, thanks.
I like that. You know, some of the
Thanks.
spell tokens can get so fancy and convoluted. It's really hard. It's like, what is that supposed to be? So I like
Right.
yours.
Oh, thanks.
There's
I am
also
making a fancy set, but
Are you
I
making a
do
fancy?
really like this symbol. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
There's also a question for you, Robin, in the chat. Would you speak to the compendium of written works? And that question comes to you from Sven.
Oh, I wrote that. Was there something you wanted to know specifically about it?
So, just what is the concept of it, and why
Oh,
would we want to buy it?
okay. So it was originally a PDF I wrote with a acquaintance of mine, Steve Fiddler, and he also writes adventures for the DMs Guild and like lots of other content. He's very prolific, and the idea was that I wanted books, but I wanted them to have mechanical value in a game setting. So, like, if a player found a book about like Volo's Guide to Monsters, the actual book, if they found that in during a play session, that if they read that book, what value do they get out of if their character read that book, what value do they get out of that? So I wrote a PDF basically, and there's about 60 books in there, and they all have very minor mechanical benefits. If the player spends X amount of downtime hours reading this book, this is the benefit they get from it. Some of them are a little crazy and kind of out there, but most of them are like, if you read the book about aberrations, for example, you do 1 more damage to aberrations. Very minute but beneficial effects. And yeah, that's what that book is about. And there's a Fantasy Grounds version of that too if you don't want the PDF.
Yeah, I like it
Yeah,
a
I
lot because
put the
it's
links in the
similar
chat.
to the Pathfinder or Starfinder feats, or the
Yeah.
player talents. They're just minor bonuses that they can get for, especially the nerds who are like to play the nerdy characters as well.
Yeah, and I have a lot of players that are like that, so I wanted something to reward their play style. So that's where that came from.
And Robin, you will also be doing a new project, which you're going to be starting.
Oh yeah, I'm doing the spell coding for the Deep Magic by Kobold Press. I'm so excited for that
Yeah.
one.
So that ties into a question that Lensman had. He wanted to know who created the spell coding for Book of Lost Spells, and have they been
Not
asked
it.
about updating it for DM's tools and the John Waits extensions in the same way that your spells were updated. So the answer to that is Gwydion is the one that did that. Way back when, I think when they put out Book of Lost Spells, it was really the only Fantasy Grounds supplement of spells that existed beyond the regular rule books. And I doubt whether he has time to do that anymore, but I might end up doing it. The thing about that is I don't know, based on the sales of that over all time, that it would be worth it. I don't think it's that popular of an item. Like if a Wizards of the Coast book comes out, we're all over that right away because it's going to sell 1 million copies. But the Book of Lost Spells isn't really that popular, so that may or may not happen. No guarantees. Hashtag probably not.
Also, I mean, I don't mean this as like a slight against the Book of Lost Spells, but I feel that some of that content wasn't play tested very well.
Yeah,
That's
I
all.
agree.
it was.
I
I
just
got it and
realized
didn't
there's
use
no
it.
nice way I could say
Yeah.
that. I'm
Well,
sorry.
so it is what it is. I hate that phrase, but at the time it came out, it was an exciting thing because it was the only
It
spells
was
you could get,
new.
and there
Yeah.
was no other spells that weren't official that you could get, and so everybody was crazy for it. But it's really
Mhm.
not that good, and when I play, I actually don't really use many of those spells. I think there's one in there that I found that I liked out of 700.
Yeah.
There's 700 spells,
There's a
708.
couple that I like, but there were like what really struck me where there were some like second or third level spells that I personally would have like considered cantrips. And then there were like low level spells that definitely should have been much higher level spells too. It was like kind of all over the place. It was strange.
Yeah. And
It's
so,
good though. Maybe they'll rework them and update it. Who knows?
yeah, they might. Who made that? I can't remember the.
Frog God Games?
Oh yeah, yeah. See, and I
Maybe?
converted a bunch of their materials, and those were always when I did the Fantasy Grounds PDF conversions for Fraud God. Those were the always the most problematic. But it's not their fault really. They're not writing. They're not thinking to themselves, "Let me write this PDF so that when Rob gets a hold of it, it's all
Oh
perfectly
yeah, for
formatted."
sure.
They're not thinking that, right?
Right.
So before we get to spin, I was gonna also mention that keep in mind for those of you that are excited about that, we're excited about it. The Cobalt Press Deep Magic, which is 700 spells, that module is $50, and because there's so many codings for that, Robin's coding module is going to price out at about $21 ish. So this is like a $70 investment to get those. But what's 70? That's only 10 cents a spell. What's up? That's not bad, right? Okay. Did I do the math right? I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't even care. So let's move to Sven, who has been on the team for a while and done some things. And I would actually like to give a personal congratulations to both Sven and to Matakuri and one other person who's not here, who have made a few $100 doing secret projects for me that we can't talk about because they don't exist. But I did want to say thank you to you guys on stream for that.
Oh, I want to know.
Yeah, well, maybe I'll tell you. And so Sven, not addressing that. What else have you done for us, and what are you going to be working on?
Well, I was born in Long Island.
I didn't know that actually. I did not know that. Were you really born in Long
Do
Island?
you like long walks on the
Yes.
beach?
No, so I actually started. I did a couple things for Smiteworks first, directly for Fantasy Grounds, and then getting to know Rob personally. Finally took the plunge and joined the team, and I've got a handful of things on there. One of my favorites is actually pay what you want. It's called the Augment Crystals. And the concept is very simple. It's just you have this crystal and you can embed it into a set of armor or weapon, and it gives it some magical property. And it goes from from 100 gold all the way up to 10,000 gold, and all different concepts. And the concept is really nice, really easy. I've used it in my games. The other one that I really like a lot is called the Grappler's Handbook Expanded. And when I was converting it, I never really delved into it that much. But now that I've gone through it and read it and looked at it, it's really well done. If you really want, that's one of the things I think was lacking in 5e, in that if you have a person who wants to know, like judo, wrestling, those type of hands-on, there's no real way to cover it because the grappling rules are very cumbersome for 5e. And um, I've never really seen anybody who handled it very well. This is really well done. The concept is you can make grappling a skill if you want, or you can use athletics or acrobatics. And then there are different skills, and they're similar to feats, but they don't take up a feat slot. And so you just use these different things, and they're very clear. They're very well written. It's very well done. So, for example, if you take a certain stance, somebody hits you and goes to hit you and misses, you then grab their weapon arm, and if you succeed at your grappling skill, it makes them drop their weapon, and you now have them restrained. So it's things like that, and it's really well done. Grappler's Handbook Expanded. If you have any interest in having hand-to-hand combat without weapons, this is the way to go. It also includes nunchucks, sai, and a couple other weapons that you can use with your grappling techniques as well.
Yeah, that's cool. And I put the link there, guys, for both the ones he mentioned. I put a link in the chat there.
I need to buy this. It sounds good.
I'll tell you what. Since we've gone through everybody, let's give away a prize. Why don't we? Because I love to give away prizes. Let's do that. Here we're going to use the Deepbot for a raffle. And I'm going to do a keyword raffle, and say this will be for a DM's Guild item of your choice. Anyone that has our name, anyone that has the name Rob Twohy on it, whether it's one of these guys or anyone you want. No packages, please. Just a single item. And the keyword will be Team Twohy. So you got to type in exclamation, all one word, Team Twohy, and you have to spell it right. So let's see how many people can do it. George Orr did it. Caesar did it. Gore Vidal did it. Lensman did it. All right, you guys are getting it. So when that counter runs down, after a minute, we'll draw one, and then we might give away some more stuff too. And if you guys have questions about other members of the team, or I can tell you who's on the team that's not here. So it's Diablo Bob. It is
I love you, man.
Usman. Oh, somebody subbed. Who was that? Nofham. Thank you for the sub.
Hey.
So actually, let me go here and I'll open up the spreadsheet.
Night.
Not on the
Night.
Yeah, Night. So here's the. I didn't want to dox their names because the emails were so. Matakiri. Oh, Marbania. Yeah, where the fuck is Marbania? Night 5150, 4Wire, Marmus, and Gorgio. The new person is Gorg Jorshwin. George, I spelled it wrong. It's a joke on George Gershwin. But he's brand new today. He just joined today. Sven, Gwydion, Robin, Mad Nomad GM, Kent McCullough, Diablo Bob, I said. And there was one other guy on the team. He's kind of really not on the team anymore. And this was a guy, he's still in the Discord, a guy by the name of Richard, RGK13. He was originally doing French conversions. So, like, if you go on the DM's Guild, the Haunt, which is a pretty popular module from a few years back, that's in French on the DM's Guild, but I think it's only sold literally one copy in like 2 years. And he was working on the Haunt too, and I emailed him, and he goes, yeah, I'm not really working on that since the other one only sold one copy, because he came to me and he goes, hey, the French market's lit up. People are screaming for material in the French market. And he made what's considered to be one of the best beginner modules. It was even showcased in Dragon Magazine. They even showcased it in Dragon Magazine, and it sold one copy. So he kind of said, yeah, I don't think so. I'm out. So which I understood. All right, let's draw us a winner. The winner of the prize this time is Gwid005. Congratulations. That's not Gwydion. That's a different person. So
alternate account.
Say that
yes,
again,
it's Gwydion's alternate.
Yeah, it's
Gwydion's
his other
alternate
fake account.
account.
That's right.
I like
So GWD 005, send me a PM in Discord, and if you don't have the link, I will give it to you there. And then I will also jot your name down so that I don't forget. Just really quick. And back to the screen with everybody's face on it. And then we'll give away another prize. But yeah, if you guys have questions about the team or about team members or for any of these people specifically, go ahead and ask them. If you have a question for me, and they can also be, you got 5 Fantasy Grounds people here, so you can also just ask questions about Fantasy Grounds itself, which we try to remind people every Sunday that that's part of the show, is if you guys have questions about the software, we can try to help you.
I have a question.
Okay.
You sound so exasperated.
I am. I said a lot. I'm out of breath.
Okay, my question is for Sven. You mentioned that you had previously done conversions, maybe for Smite Works. What are some of those that you did? I'm just curious.
So the big one I did is called the Alien Bestiary.
Oh yeah, I have that.
And
I love it.
It's if I do say so myself, it's pretty phenomenal. It's written for science fiction, incorporating sci-fi into your 5e game, but I don't run a sci-fi game, and I've used probably 40 monsters from it, because it has dragons and giants and elementals and fey creatures, undead, all these different plants, all these different creatures that can easily be put into any 5e game. And the nice thing is I have really veteran players who know D&D backwards and forwards, and they love it because they don't know any of these monsters. So it's really nice. It even has Cthulhu statted out in there.
It does.
Oh,
more than,
nice.
like-
They're not gonna get copyright. Oh my God, it's Lovecraft. Did
Isn't
you
it in the public domain?
It might be now, I think.
Lovecraftian stuff.
Yeah, 40 years ago when they got in trouble, it wasn't, but I think it is
Oh,
now.
right.
Did you use the NPC engineer to make that?
Yes.
Yeah.
That was my first time struggling through that thing. And,
Yeah, it's. I
close
mean,
to 400 monsters and
it's there's
Baptism by
problems with
fire.
that, and they're still, they're redoing it, and it's still got a little bugs here and there. But it was, boy, did that save a lot of time, because I made Creature Codex with that, and I don't think I would have been able to do it without it.
Yeah.
And for those that don't
Well-
know what we're talking about, there's a thing called. It's got a new name. What's the new name, Maticuri? Do you know?
Engineer Suite.
Oh, Engineer Suite.
Yeah.
So you guys can go find.
I'm
that.
sorry, Manicure.
No,
I
it's
didn't
fine.
mean to
I
answer for
don't
you.
use it hardly.
Yeah,
I
it's
don't
really
use it
good.
either.
Well, I should say it'll be really good when it's done. It's only in its alpha version now, but it used to be called NPC Engineer, and the guy who developed it just kind of walked away and let someone else take over. And the person that took over, there's a Discord server for it and everything. He's redoing it, and he's got a Patreon, and if you go to his Patreon, you can get the new, the alpha release prior to the public and whatever. But I'm kind of like Maticuri. I'm waiting. It's like Unity. I'm just gonna wait till it's done. I don't want to fuck with any shit that doesn't work the right way.
Like
Fantasy
Unity,
Grounds
it's more
parser.
than just an update. They
Right.
changed
Yeah.
the entire code that they're basing it on.
They're-
So he's
yeah, they-
rewriting
rewriting
everything.
everything. And it's called Fantasy Module Parser now.
No, it's still
Apparently.
called Engineer Suite.
Not according to Linsman. Oh, there's gonna be a fight. Robin, you got your boxing gloves?
Well, no, because I remember specifically a couple weeks ago, you and I had an argument about this software in
Oh.
particular, where I said it was pointless and extraneous, and you said, no, it's awesome. And then we fought about it. Anyways, and I downloaded it, and it's definitely called Engineer Suite.
Did you say pointless and extraneous? That's rough.
Yeah, pointless and extraneous.
All right,
yeah,
let's go
I-
see. Yeah,
I don't like it. That's a
the
known
name
fact.
of the Discord server is Fantasy Module Parser. Yep. So that's
Oh.
been changed.
That's the Discord, though. If you go, I'm gonna pull it up now. Maybe
All right,
I'm
well,
wrong.
Listen, I'm not that smart.
Listen, I'm not that smart either. The website www.masq.net. It still says Engineer Suite on the website.
Yeah, but that's not there's a new website as well. So
Oh, okay. Well,
anyway, Lensman,
fine.
you can fight with Robin about that later.
I love you.
Cordovan wants to know if Unity is usable yet. We think yes. We think now, as of like a week ago, yes, it is. It's pretty stable now, and the load times are way faster, and they fix a lot of stuff. So I would 95% recommend Unity. What about you, Matt? Agree? What percentage do you give it?
I agree. I've been prepping for a new campaign that I'm working on, and everything is just going great with Unity now.
Yeah.
The last couple of weeks, the prep has gone smooth. I haven't had any of the issues that I was running into before. There's still the occasional minor little thing, but it's nothing that really impacts my gameplay or prep work or anything like that.
Yeah, and I haven't seen any problems with it. I'm not even kidding. I was a super backer on the Kickstarter. I went to Florida. I did the whole thing. I was a member of the development team. I had like 8 meetings with Doug and John and the other and Drake and Marbania and all the other guys that were involved. And I've literally opened Unity software a number of times you could count on 2 hands, like less than 10. And it was just because I would try to do something and I would get frustrated, and it's still in beta. It's not even released in the full version yet, but I just, I'm one of these guys, I can't take it. I don't want to be involved in like I gave my 2 cents at the meetings, but I don't want to turn something on that isn't really ready to go. It just so frustrates me. And I've been giggity. I've been using computers since I was like 11 years old, so since 1977. Yeah, that's right. I'm old. And I just have always had that about me. I've always had that if something breaks, I don't even want to go back to it until I know it's fixed. So I'm not a good beta tester guy for that kind of stuff. Anyway, all right. What else? Did we miss any questions? Let's see. Da-da.
Oh, for Robin, I got a thing.
Oh
I
God.
don't know if you no, I don't know if you noticed. I just released an update to Shops. I know you're working on the Shops module, and I added a Notes tab. So there's now a main tab
Ooh.
with all the inventory and a Notes with a formatted text field, so you can put in any information, links to other things that you want to there in the shop.
Yes, I will get the update and then just do a quick scrub of like, because I was doing story entries for kind of all the shop descriptions. I'll just throw that on the notes pad. Thanks, Matt. Carrie, that's
Yeah.
awesome. I'm so excited. I freaking love your extension, by the way. I'm really bad at like checking for updates. Look, I've had like one extension that I haven't updated in like 4 years. I think it's the MOTD extension. I'm still using like a really old, okay, not 4 years. That's an exaggeration. But you guys get what I'm saying. I never check for updates. So I appreciate that. I will
McClancy
grab
put
that.
a link in the chat for you, Robin.
Oh God.
He said,
Where does
check
it go to?
fantasy
No, I
mods and
don't.
parsing
I
top
don't need that program. I'm not clicking it. I don't need it. I don't use it. I do everything manually,
That's
like
great.
a
That's so
boss.
awesome. There's Robin. There's these things called vehicles with 4 tires, and you have a gas tank. No, I'm good with a horse and buggy. That's fine. I'm just gonna drive
No,
there.
but it's different though because using those things, we've already talked about this before. My opinion is using those creates extra work because it scrubs things for you or whatever, parses shit, whatever, and then you have to open it in Fantasy Grounds as its own module or edit the XML and put all the other things in like story entries and etc. images, etc. I don't know. It's a
But
fucking waste of time, is what it is.
it's a waste of time if you're doing 10 monsters. It's a lifesaver if you're doing 400 monsters. That's
Well,
what
you
my
know.
opinion is.
To each their own. That's
You-
I
she
mean,
can't be
whatever
convinced.
floats your boat.
She can't be convinced. Robin, I have cookies. I have cookies here.
I don't really eat cookies, so thanks.
I have a check for $1,200 from Donald
I'll
Trump.
take that.
Oh yeah, that's already
I'll
been
just
cashed.
write my name on it.
It's already been cashed. Trust me. Darth Beck says even 10 monsters is faster. If you're proficient with it, I would say that's true. But she's right.
I don't know. I can do monsters pretty quick.
You have to, if you use that thing, you have to open the module in Fantasy Grounds and then drag the monsters out. And if you
Yeah,
don't,
and then add anything else that goes with it.
yeah, if you don't do it that way, then now you're into the XML and you can never edit it again unless you go into XML. It's crazy.
Right, yeah, no. Pass.
Anyway, we're not here to promote NPC Parser Engineer Suite or whatever the fuck it's called.
Right.
It
Yeah,
just got
let's move on.
mentioned. So, more questions, guys. Ask us questions. All right. Oh, I did want to mention. I didn't mention this before, everybody that's in the chat. After the show, you see I got ahead of myself. After the show, as we always do on Sunday nights, we're going to play they want me to add the quote, Robin, I can do monsters pretty quick.
Oh, I just thought of a question. I know you were about to say something, but this is for Mad Nomad. I don't recall. I know you were on the show recently, but I don't recall what your answer was to this, or if we had even asked you. But for your encounter generator package, whatever you call that, are you adding in the monsters from Kobold Press, like Toma Beast, Creature Codex? Are they already in it? No, they're not already in it.
It's in it now. We just added that.
Oh, okay.
Okay,
cool.
Yeah, future ones are up to just sort of like and whatever gets the most requests for, basically.
Nice. Well, then I need to update because the version I have doesn't have the Toma Beast monsters. Because I'm notoriously bad at that.
Check 4 years from now when you're talking about it. You can
right. I'll be like, Mad Nomad, are you gonna do this monster? And you'll be like, I did it 2 years ago.
Yeah.
Oops.
So what I was gonna say is that we play Jackbox Party Pack games after the show. So when the show ends, we'll stop the show for like 5 minutes, and then we'll come back and play Jackbox games like Quiplash and You Don't Know Jack and all that stuff. So don't leave is my point. And any of these folks that are here with us now may or may not be here. Depends on if they want to do it or not. But they'll be free to play and be in the chat too. So And we can have up to 10,000 players, and that's not a joke. So every single person that's here right now can play. So if you're interested in that, don't leave. That's not, I don't mean to say that the show's ending right now, but I'm just warning you that when we do end the show, not to leave if you want to have some more fun. Because if you're a Seinfeld fan and Kramer bursts into the room and he goes, "Who wants to have some fun?" I do. I want to have some. Now, are you just saying you want to have some fun, or do you really want to have some? Okay. Question, Mad Nomad. With the update, can both extensions be in your Fantasy Grounds extension folder, or do you have to choose one or the other? And I think the person means modules, right?
Right. They can both be there if you like random chaos and you just want to see what happens. I would recommend not having them both there. Yeah, it's you probably want to deactivate the old one. When I released the last version, there was a mistake in the README file. We updated though recently, so it's got detailed instructions. But anytime you get a new version of the module, you can probably should delete the old versions. And going forward, they'll have the same name, so we'll just replace it. But I won't get into all the details. But couldn't do that for the first time. But yeah, short answer is just use the version that you want to use. Or if they're both there, it's okay as long as you just don't load both of them.
Yeah, and that's a best practice for anything that you're downloading from DM's Guild, which is to erase the old one and put the new file there. I mean, if there's not a name change, it'll just copy over it anyway. But you definitely don't want to have 2 copies of anything in your drive, because Fantasy Grounds will default to the oldest one. Even if they're named differently, it'll go to the oldest version of whatever that file is. So you want to just make sure that you're either replacing or deleting and adding the new one to whatever that is. And that's in the modules folder.
I'm not sure why I owe Lensman a module, but
I
I'm
don't know.
gonna
I saw
send
that and I don't know what he's saying.
There was a bet or something earlier. It's fine. I'm gonna send it. There was a question you skipped from Lensman though.
Oh, okay.
And it was for the whole group. What is your favorite type of module to convert? Do you prefer bestiaries, reference manuals, adventures, etc.?
All right. Well,
So I'll jump on that.
Yeah, go for it.
I just prefer what I would use myself. And so the adventures and stuff are nice. Reference manuals are nice. I do have a couple reference manuals that I use, but like weapon or specialties and the Grappler's Handbook I was talking about. But the bestiaries is probably the thing I use more than anything else, and so I enjoy switching those over.
All right. What about you, Robin?
Well, I do like converting content that I think I will use. But on the same, I don't know, that's really hard because like some things I don't actually like to convert that much. I don't like things that are like, I don't really like doing classes. I don't know what it is. I mean, I'll do them, happy, whatever. But to me, it just feels so tedious. I really like converting adventures because I end up using a lot of them, even if I don't run them as is. Sometimes it's nice just seeing how other people would like, write out a battle map and the encounters to go with it. So I really like that, and I do really like doing monsters. Giggity. Okay, that's all.
And Manicuri, what about you, Giggity?
I'm kind of the opposite of Robin. I don't really care for doing adventure modules so much. I don't usually run kind of the prepackaged adventure modules terribly often. But I like doing these are tend to be much larger modules, but I really like doing the campaign sourcebook types.
Ooh, yeah.
And they're often really big and really varied. There's always a lot of really interesting new content. So you'll get bestiary stuff, you'll get new class options, you'll get all kinds of interesting new things available in this campaign setting type books. So I think in terms of conversions, those are probably the ones I prefer the most, but they're much bigger. You're talking 300 pages, 400 pages, or whatever.
And Nomad, what about you?
Yeah, I've never done a conversion. I've actually never even run an adventure. using your book.
See,
No way.
that's what's so awesome.
Everything I create my own. I just never really could understand like fun in being a DM when it's not even your content. Like to me, the only joy I get out of being a DM is like telling my own story and making my own stuff up.
Yeah, that's
So
legit. Yeah,
Well, I do the same thing, but if I'm like, shit, I need, like things that happen on the top of this mountaintop, there's stuff that I can like rip out of other adventures in that sense. It like cuts down on prep.
yeah.
that makes sense.
But it's amazing that you aren't really a DM and don't really do that stuff that much, but yet you made a product that everyone loves, and it just speaks to the whole Fantasy Grounds thing about how you don't really have to be an expert DM to make material, and all you have to do is put your mind to it. And
Well, I do DM. I just don't DM the ventures usually. But
yeah.
Yeah. So I guess in retrospect, I would say
what you
probably
do is you
the
make
first
a random
book.
encounter generator, and then you DM stories around that. Yeah, exactly. Why wouldn't you? That's all you need.
Well, now I'm one step closer to being able to run an entire game from random generation thanks to his random encounter generator.
Yeah.
So
I think it's awesome.
It is
That's
awesome.
actually my plan, as I want to build a suite of stuff that, well, it's a big long-term project I have, but I want to be able to run a whole campaign where everything is sort of randomized and I'm like learning the story as we go, but also sort of making it make sense. And
yeah, that's a cool idea. My answer to that question has varied over time, but my favorite thing to do now is administrate. My favorite part of the job is publishing the things and promoting the things and talking about the things and doing the shows about things and yelling at the team to give me their monthly numbers. And I like all of the I'm running an empire part of it rather than the physical work of it, which I still do some. But yeah, that's my favorite part. I like that the best. Let's see, what other questions are there? Matt Curie, is there a best practice for doing a random parcel to import into Magic Item Store?
I'm not sure that there's a best practice per se. You can use the tables capabilities to roll multiple times on subtables, and have it automatically output to a parcel. So you can get really complicated and really detailed and intricate table generation, and have it output to a parcel. So just to clarify on what he's talking about is when you're creating a store, you have the option of either manually dragging the items into the store one at a time, or you can use the tables to generate a parcel, and then you can just drag the parcel onto the store and that'll populate all of the items. And so kind of learning how to use the table effectively to roll on subtables, and then further subtables and further subtables and all of that, so that it all boils up to a single parcel in the end with a wide variety of different items. That's really all I can say in terms of advice is really dig into how the table formatting and structure works to allow you to get the items into a good parcel.
Yeah, awesome. Let's see. Boo 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 boo. Question: what was the hardest conversion you've worked on, where you either enjoyed the learning process or when you finished the conversion, felt that your skills had grown? Um, for me, it was probably the first one I ever did, which was of Drow Origin. And I had no idea. This would have been in May of 18, I think. That was my first Smiteworks conversion. I mean, obviously the codes were the most fun for me, but for a conversion of an adventure was that, because I didn't know what I was doing, and I got hired to do it, and I insinuated myself to Doug like, "Hey, I've been hired to do this," and he's like, "Yeah, that's not how this works." And then he kind of slapped my wrist, and he goes, "You went about it backwards, but I appreciate your enthusiasm," and they kind of helped me to get signed up and get it all done. But There's a video of that on the internet, and it's a adventure that takes place at a wedding where there's really two DMs, and they're both DMing it from the same location, but it was remote. It was an online game, but the two DMs were in the same room, and it's a really weird. If you guys haven't checked it out, you can go watch that video. But I would say that was the most eye-opening for me. I mean, I've done a lot of different stuff, but I remember that as being particularly combative. And then when I got done with it, I was like, wow, I learned so much. And I even started making videos on here's how you do a module, because here's all the bullshit I went through. Don't do this, don't do this, don't do this. So how would you guys answer that?
I'd say, so for me, excluding the extensions, because every extension I write, I learn something new about the Fantasy Grounds code. It's guaranteed every single time there's some new aspect of it that I'm going to pick up something new. But in terms of modules learning, it was probably, I think it was the third or fourth one. It was a comprehensive equipment manual that I did. And it was huge. And it required me to really dig into the XML to finish it in any kind of reasonable time frame. There was something like 1,000 different items in there. And I realized that trying to manually put everyone in using the Fantasy Grounds interface was going to be horrible. So that forced me to really dig through the XML and learn to understand that and manipulate that directly. And that ended up making it go much faster for that particular project.
Yeah. Yeah, I'd still be working on that if that was the one I did. What about you, Robin?
Okay, I'll try not to be long-winded about this, but
There's
I
no
did
time
this
limit.
conversion
You take as long as you want.
once upon a time.
I was born in Long
and
Island.
it I like long walks on the beach. No, this one has a really long name too. I had to re-look it up because I always forget the name of it. But it's called the Wayfinders Foundation. No, the Wayfinder Foundation's Register of Extraordinary Individuals. Okay, and this one came out when the new Eberron book came out. The Rising from the Last War, and it had a bunch of sidekicks or whatever those new, basically retainer sort of NPCs are. I forget what they're called. I think they're called sidekicks. Anyways, it was a bunch of those, and by a bunch I mean like 90 of them. And I at the time did not own the Essentials kit for Fantasy Grounds, so I didn't know how sidekicks were implemented. I had never seen them. I didn't own the Fantasy Grounds conversion of it. All I have is the actual physical book, and they look like NPC stat blocks to me. So I made this whole thing. And then sometime like through the middle of it, I went ahead and bought the Essentials kit for Fantasy Grounds so that I could see how the sidekicks were set up, if there was something different or anything like that. And I found out that, well, they were just NPC stat blocks. Anyways, I was really disappointed with that too, by the way, because whoever converted that for Fantasy Grounds did not put their level up stuff on the other tab of the NPC sheet. So you had to like go through the
sorry, I didn't mean to say that.
and I complained about this profusely to somebody else. I don't remember who. It was in the Fantasy Grounds Discord. I made a big stink about it, and they didn't like it. So, but yeah, it really frustrated me that those sidekicks, the official sidekicks, don't have their what they gain when they level up on the back side of the NPC sheet. It really bothers me. But anyway, so I took that and learned from that, I guess, that experience, and try to put it into this conversion. But this conversion took me like 3 weeks to do, which is really long for me, but it was like 130 pages or something, which doesn't sound like a lot, but is a lot. And it's all just sidekick stat blocks. It was crazy. Anyways, yep, there you go. I tried not to be long-winded about it.
What about you, Mad Nomad? You've done one. Which one did you like the best? Uh-oh, we can't hear you.
Well, it wasn't even a conversion either. I think the question was about conversion, so
yeah.
Yeah, that's true. What about you, Sven?
So I did a small one called Gloria's Gambit. That was actually my first one for Rob, and that was really probably my biggest learning curve because I turned it in. I was an editor for 10 years, so I thought I had it all ready to go. It was good, looked nice, and then he comes back with this whole page full of errors. I'm like, So just going through that process of, even though it's grammatically correct and it looks like it should, that was also the big thing that some of these smaller publications have hand-drawn maps or maps that are piecemeal, and so they don't line up with a grid all the way through. So there's a software that you use to line up the maps correctly. So that little tiny Glorious Gambit, while not my favorite of all time to run, that was probably my biggest learning curve.
Yeah. Say hi to Diablo Bob, everybody. Yay!
Hi, Bob.
Diablo Bob.
Hi, everyone.
So
Apparently, my shape has been.
look at you. You've got a
Frozen
hide
in.
in your silhouette.
I can hide.
How much have you seen? Because Diablo Bob was at work. He just got back from work. Everybody, he works. He's protecting our country. Have you? How long were you watching before you jumped on?
I was listening on the car ride, which was kind of choppy. I managed to, at a couple stoplights, actually type like 2 things.
Okay.
That's
So
dangerous.
if you guys have questions for Diablo Bob, and by the way, next week's show is all Diablo Bob. So if you forget today or can't think of anything now, he'll be here next week. We're gonna go back over. Is it next week, or is that right, or is it the week after?
Yeah, I think it's next week.
Okay, we're gonna revisit Portals, which has been revamped and reshaped and redone and built from
Multiple
the ground
times.
up, so that Bob has all the coding, and then the guy that helped earlier that disappeared and never came back and broke his leg and joined Taliban. We don't know what happened to him. Anyway, we'll talk about that next week. But if you have any questions for him today, feel free. Bob's been with the team since December
2018.
Yeah.
Yep.
Damn.
So super long time. And Bob has only done his own material. He does not do conversions of PDFs. He does like what mostly Maticuri does and what Nomad does and what Kent does. They make their own stuff and then just slap my name on it, and I take a huge cut because I'm the man, and then everybody's happy and everybody makes a lot of money.
It's not that huge, Rob.
It's not? Okay. Hey, giggity. All right. Robin, you missed that one.
I'm sorry.
That was my next question, Lensman says. Cool.
If it was big?
I don't know. Diablo Bob, does it work with... Darth Vex's question is, does it work in Unity? That's his question.
I am actually making it so it does. However, I have not done full testing at this point. I'm still getting a couple other features incorporated and plumbed in.
Is this about Portals? Okay.
I thought I
missed it.
Yeah, I took Darth Vex to just be asking that question generally. Does it work in Unity?
To be a dick?
Everything.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, to be a dick.
Yes.
Because that's everyone's question.
That's
so,
true.
Bob, does that mean that you have redone Portals? Like the classic version?
Yes, Portals. I am on now the 3rd rewrite, almost completed with that, and it's acting very, very much more stable. So this is basically going to be actually the update that I push. But
it hasn't come out yet.
No.
Okay.
And I may end up actually plumbing in some extra features after I push the big update.
Nice.
Yeah, he was being a dick.
Sort of a little behind the scenes for everybody. He wrote the original one with Valerian, and
right.
Not Valerian Gamer, Valerian Stormbreaker.
Yeah, there's 2 Valerians, not Valerian Gamer, but just Valerian, and he's been gone now for 4 months or something. But a lot of the code that they wrote individually was, I maybe Bob can describe it better, but the layman's thing I have in my head is that the code was fighting with each other. So Bob basically had to go in and just rewrite it himself in his own way so that he knows how everything works and how everything, and if there's a problem, he can go find it easy without having to traipse through someone else's code that comes from a guy who, he's really intelligent, but his background was he wrote like slot machine code for Las Vegas, and so he did things a certain different way and wasn't really the Fantasy Grounds way, or he had a lot of proprietary coding techniques and stuff, and it wasn't really working. So,
anyway, like somebody else?
Yes.
Deluxe Oz?
Deluxe Oz, yeah, he took his toys. Everybody that does this fantastic shit, and then they go, I'm taking my toys and going home. Oh, yeah? Well, we'll just rewrite that shit then. Maddie Curie, making $1 million. Right. Question on portals from Gore Vidal. Can you set up random exit points on the portal?
I will answer that with a picture, actually.
Oh, I thought you were going to say tune in next week and we'll answer that.
Well, that too.
Yeah. So next week's show is going to be portals. And
Oh,
then
Lensman asked,
Go
what
ahead.
feature do you want? What feature do you most want added to Fantasy Grounds? And what is your favorite feature and why? And we can answer that after Bob is done showing us.
Okay. And
What?
and the week
Okay,
after
so-
Put a
that is going to
picture.
be G. Jensen Hagrid will be here going over the new spell tokens.
What is this picture?
Let's see, what is it?
Look at it.
A bug man?
The picture is actually from out of the box stuff. Like, it was just a random map, that picture that I used. However, if you look at it, to answer actually the question that Gore Vidal asked, right above the portal link list, you see a little addition.
Are we supposed to be seeing a picture? I don't see any picture.
It's in the chat.
It's in the chat,
Rob.
Oh,
the
it's in
group
the
chat.
chat. Okay, hold on.
Sorry.
Oh, here we go. Okay.
What picture?
There's a picture? Let me describe it for you. Because, a couple weeks ago, I took my first time actually DMing, so I'll describe the picture. Tell me when it's on Twitch.
It's on.
I
It's
see
on.
it. Yep, it's there.
Okay. So, so there is actually a random destination feature that I've added into it.
Nice.
So the cool thing about that is, I'll explain more, but basically, no matter what, no matter if they select something or whatnot, it's still going to choose randomly if that's selected, period. There's some other features that I'll talk about that I'm plumbing in, etc. The main key thing that is kind of a teaser, is that the portal toolbox is now actually going to be the interface for portals. It's not integrated into the maps themselves and stuff, because that's what was making a lot of instability issues, and has been a pain to rip out.
Ooh, nice. Well done.
So,
Cool.
but since it is standalone, it also is being designed to work in Unity as well, without having to have a separate extension for Unity.
Cool. Love it. I like
Yes.
portals and I really want to use it, but I had bought it, some time ago, and I could just never get it to work quite right for me. So I'm really looking forward to like the update and stability of it, the extension, because I think it's really useful as a feature.
Definitely. And okay, so we're getting some questions. To answer the question, same map or different? Both. Thank you, Lensman, as well.
You can skip
And-
Jeff. You can skip Vex's question.
Picture references. Okay, so anyway.
But yeah, tune in next
Yeah.
week if you guys have and you have a week to think of some questions. But we'll go over that, and next week's show will be mainly desktop, so we'll be showing it, and like we normally do, won't be people on camera.
Also, keep an eye out for Mad Nomad's future stuff. I'm super excited about stuff he's working on and told me behind the scene.
Speaking of cool stuff, let's give away another prize before we end the show here. I will get the deep bot, and I will reset the prize. We will do the same thing. I will just start it, and you guys can type in the chat Team Twohy, ! Team Twohy, all one word. And I'll start a minute timer, and we'll give away another thing on the DM's Guild to another lucky winner. As a matter of fact, 2 lucky winners. I will draw 2 names this time. And before we go, did anybody else have anything they wanted to share, or that we forgot to talk about, or anything else at all? Who'd we lose? Matt? Oh, he's still here. Anybody at all?
Somebody
Alright.
asked if
Going to
for your
mention
big package.
to answer the question that came up earlier in the chat. What feature would you like added? The thing I want added most to Fantasy Grounds is for the beta tag to get dropped and it to be official.
That's right. Me too. I second that. That's what I want. That's what I want mostly.
I want /reload.
Oh, slash reload isn't in Unity, is it? Yeah, that
I was
would
No.
gonna
be.
say I do that all the time, but I'm still in
Return to launcher.
Yeah, the thing
Yeah,
is
yeah,
that you.
both of those. Oh,
Yeah. Okay. Let's draw 2 names here. The first winner is Caesar. What's up, Caesar? You win, buddy. Nice job.
What's up, bitches?
What's up, bitches? And you know what to do, Caesar. Send me a message in Discord. And the second winner is General Wedge Antilles. Also a previous winner, because I remember his name. You guys know what to do. Send me a message in Discord. I'm going to write your guys' name down in the sheets. In the sheet.
Congrats. I can't
Uh,
think of a feature I would want added to Fantasy Grounds. It already does everything I need it to.
does it teleport between maps?
Well, I mean, but you already made that.
Oh my god, even with the sexy voice.
Sorry.
Does it teleport between
But you
them?
already made that. So, oh man, I don't know. You know what I really wish it did support better, I guess, is sometimes when you make like custom classes, if they have spell casting progression that is not the same as the base classes, it doesn't parse that, and so you have to manually
Add in the class.
change their how many spell slots they have, right? You have to like click the button and set their spell
Hard-coded
slots.
in.
Right, yeah, it's hard coded in. I wish that it was parsed from the spell casting entry or something to that effect. I wish it would parse that from the class data somehow.
action.
I know that's a huge ask. That's huge. But I guess that would be the one thing that I wish that it did.
Basically, like a casting manager.
Yeah, or I mean, I don't know. Something. What if you could code the spell slots into the class entry, right? As the class data as part of the data when you make a custom class. So if I make my custom, I don't know, warden class, and somewhere on the back side of that where you put in all the features, what if you put in spell slots on that? That might be a way to handle it. But anyways, I digress. That's my ask.
I think we might have lost Matt.
Not
tonight.
it.
I don't know.
Maybe.
All right. So good. The end, everybody. We're gonna end the show, and then we'll wait like 5 minutes and come back. So if you guys want to play Jackbox TV games with us, get out your phones or your pads, your what are those called? Tablets, devices, and go to jackbox.tv and just wait, and we'll come back. And I will get the prize winners their spoils after we do that. So in like an hour or hour and a half or so. And
They're saying you're quiet.
Sick of Salmon, you're telling me that I'm quiet? What the fuck? You got to be out of your mind. I'm not quiet. So good. So thanks to all of my team members for hanging out, and thanks to Robin for being a host with me. And we hope Fury feels better. And we shall be back in like 5 minutes, guys. So until then, good gaming, everyone.